For true fantasy junkies like ourselves, and obviously like yourself, if you're checking out our website during the off season, we know, Jeff, that there is no off season. It goes from the Super Bowl straight into free agency. We've already had the draft combine. The NFL draft will be coming up, but this segment here is to talk about faces that could be changing places as free agency gets ready to kick off tonight.
Yeah, it's like the NFL knows just what its fans are. That's a whole lot of junkies. We crave this stuff. We cannot get enough. That's why after the Pro Bowl, there's like 2-3 weeks of slow time. Not dead time, just slow, because there's always all kinds of news and rumors and trade talk and salary cap BS talk and all that kind of stuff. So those of us who are true junkies, man, we really don't have an offseason. We just roll on to the next stage in the game.
Yeah,
awesome.
Absolutely. You talk about speculation. I mean, we didn't even have a chance to get on camera and talk about the T.O. might be leaving Dallas speculation, but it's already been revealed by owner Jerry Jones that T.O. will be back. We didn't have a chance to even percolate on what would Brandon Jacobs do as a free agent. He was first of all slapped with a franchise tag, and now he's already been signed to a 4-year deal. So without any delay, we need to jump in, Jeff, and get ourselves on tape talking about this year's crop of free agents, because there are some pretty good ones out there, some pretty big names that are going to be launching out into the free agent market, none bigger than TJ Houshmandzadeh, who's the first guy we'll talk about here.
Yeah, I remember when we started talking about him like 3-4 years ago on this show. He was just starting to break out for a Bengals team that looked like they were young and up and coming and doing really well. Well, things haven't gone that great for the Bengals, but Houshmandzadeh has kept his mouth shut, and he's quietly caught ball after ball after ball, leading the league in receptions a couple of different times. He's a great receiver, the antithesis of that idiot on the other side, Ocho Stinko. And I just think that Houshmandzadeh is going to make some team a great ball player. For my money, dude, that's the Eagles.
Yeah, the club did not put the franchise tag on him, which they could have. There's different rumors as to why. Maybe some within the franchise did not view him as a quote-unquote franchise-type player.
Right.
He did benefit from playing across from Chad Ochocinco these last couple years. You mentioned the Eagles, Jeff. The Seahawks are also in the running, and so are the New York Giants, the team I believe is the front runner to bring him in. They might be without Plaxico Burress this year, and it would be a huge addition to their club if they landed Ocho, or if they landed Hoosh.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. They need a #1 target now with Plaxico Burress likely going to jail. He still has a bullet in his fanny.
Damn.
What a butthead. He should have shot himself there in the head. But, you know, wherever Housh goes, he's going to do a great job. And I wouldn't be surprised if it is these two teams from the NFC East. This is one of the more prestigious divisions in all of football history. There could be a bit of a sweepstakes for Houshmandzadeh, a bidding war, so to speak. And that would be very interesting and very lucrative for him, because at 31, he's looking at getting his biggest contract of his career.
The other wide receiver that is out there right now was not a free agent at the beginning of when they were talking about free agents, but has been released by the team. And Jeff, that is Laveranues Coles of the Jets. He's now a free agent. He's walked away from $6 million guaranteed to test the free agency market. You've got an interesting take on what Laveranues might be thinking by walking away from the
Yeah,
cash.
man, I think he's going to the Dolphins. I think that he was really, really burned by the way that they did one of his best friends, Chad Pennington, in the whole Brett Favre fiasco. Laveranues had a bad, like, sullen attitude throughout the course of the season.
He was
and his
salty.
production definitely slipped from it. He still had a very decent season, but to go to the Dolphins, an interdivision rival, he's going to get a chance to play revenge a little bit with his buddy Chad Pennington, and they need receiver help in a massive way. The 7-year veteran or so would really do a nice job of teaching the young receivers on that team how to play, how to run routes, how to catch the ball in heat, and I just think that would be a great fit for him. So I really think that Coles is going to end up a Dolphin.
That's a good take, man. Miami is a team that's already improved a lot from 2 years ago, only winning 1 game. Last year making the playoffs. An addition like Coles would definitely up their stock for sure. Now moving on to the quarterback position, a lot has happened, Jeff, since the last time we recorded any film. Since that time, Kurt Warner led the Cardinals to the Super Bowl, and now Kurt Warner is a free agent, or is about to be a free agent as the clock strikes midnight tonight. We hear rumors that the club and he are getting close to a deal. Break down Kurt Warner's situation in Arizona.
Well, he's had one of the best seasons of his entire career. He wants to be paid like a top 5 quarterback, and I just think that the Cardinals should do it. Now the clock is ticking. They've got hours to go here before Kurt becomes a free agent. So his number one destination would have been the Vikings had the Vikings not settled on a quarterback in the trade for Sage Rosenfels, who we just spoke to Richard Justice from the Houston Chronicle. That looks like it's 100% of a lock. So it's very unlikely that Kurt Warner would come here. So that's got to take some of the leverage away from his side. But at the same time, do the Cardinals want to go into this defense of their Super Bowl run with Matt Leinart under center? I don't know. They'd have a lot of money tied up in their quarterback position, but it's the quarterback position, and Warner is going to be great again.
Yeah, I think they're going to do everything they possibly can to bring in Warner Happy. The real question there to me is what are they going to do about the Anquan Boldin situation, because he's still technically locked up in a contract he's very unhappy about. Warner would like the team to not only make a financial consideration to Kurt Warner, but would also like them to bring back Anquan Boldin, pay him a little more money, make him happy. The other quarterback that's a free agent right now that could have potentially landed here in Minnesota before the Rosenfels deal was one Jeff Garcia, who's played really well the last couple seasons in Tampa. He's been cut loose. The Bucs are going young. What do you think about Garcia testing the waters here in free agency?
Well, at 38 years old, I think Garcia still has a little bit of game left. He seems really savvy in that he understands the game of football very well on a mental level. As far as quarterback in the pocket presence, I think he's really poised and has a lot of good abilities at getting the escape when the opposing defense brings a blitz, and he's good at making plays with his feet. So I really did like the idea of having him come to the Vikings. But when you look around the scope of the league, there's only a small handful of teams that I think would want to bring an aging veteran in like that. Maybe Jacksonville, who's kind of on the cusp of making the playoffs. We have heard rumors that the Niners might bring him in, which wouldn't be so bad for him because he's had history there in the past.
Yeah, I could also see him being a potential guy the Bears might take a look at. Rex Grossman is also a free agent. He's probably going to land somewhere else as a backup, potentially in Detroit as a backup to Dante Culpepper. The Bears have committed to Kyle Orton, but come on, it's Kyle Orton. You know, he rocks that full-size beard like Jeff's rocking.
I'm working on the Kyle Orton beard right now.
The Kyle Orton beard. So we'll have to see where Jeff Garcia goes, but if someone lands Jeff Garcia, if he lands in the right spot, he's proven that he can be a competitive, serviceable quarterback, and Jeff and I both agree we think he's got a decent season or two left in him. Moving over to the running backs that are in free agency out there, the biggest name that was going to be a free agent, Brandon Jacobs, he's been locked up, as we said earlier in the show. But the other name involved in that Giants backfield was another 1,000-yard rusher, Derek Ward. He's now a free agent, Jeff, and he's drawing interest from several different teams out there. Derek Ward's intriguing from a fantasy perspective. He ran really well last season. He could be the kind of guy a team could bring in as a starter potentially.
Yeah, for a 1,000-yard rusher, he's probably the most unheralded century mark guy in recent history. Anyway, you know, he runs really hard. He runs with passion. He's not an overly talented running back, so I do think that in certain situations that he could produce very well, probably top 1,000 yards again, but his ceiling for touchdowns like 8 in my opinion.
Yep. I don't think he's going to be a barn burner or a great playmaker, but I mean, he definitely hits the hole at the right speed and he catches the ball well out of the backfield. A couple places I've heard him mentioned would be Denver. He's specifically said that he's interested in going to Arizona or to Cleveland, which could, in either of those two situations, trigger some interesting speculation on the futures of one Jamal Lewis, who just underwent ankle surgery again, and also Edgerrin James, who has basically said that he wants out. So Derek Ward is a guy we're going to be watching closely this offseason because he's going to be landing with a different team, and he's looking for a nice deal in the $5 to $6 million range.
And he's obviously looking for an opportunity, you know, and that's smart. You know, the two teams that he speculated on are both teams that are unsettled in their backfield. The type of situation where he could produce. If he goes to the Browns, I really don't like his potential. I think that in that division, it kind of restricts a running back of diminutive size potential when he has to face against the Steelers and the Ravens.
Tough D's. The other running back out there that's a free agent is Fred Taylor, the Jags' all-time leading rusher. He's been given his walking papers. The Jaguars have handed their full-time job to Maurice Jones-Drew. Now, Fred Taylor, even though he's getting a little bit older, Jeff, there are some teams out there that are interested in him. The Bills have already brought him in for an interview, and the Patriots say they will bring him in for an interview. Fred Taylor, still drawing interest.
It makes me wonder if these two teams, we're talking about the Bills, who have a young running back in Marshawn Lynch, who has really yet to achieve his potential, and the Patriots, who have a young running back in Lawrence Maroney, who has yet to really achieve his potential. And it makes me wonder if they're trying to send a message to these young guys that says, you know, step up, man up, let's play hard, let's run the ball hard, focus on the field, let's be good citizens off the field, and let's run the ball. You haven't done much yet. Here's a guy in Fred Taylor. He's put up 1,000 yards a season on average in his 11-year career. That's great numbers. We're talking about a guy who was a top 3 pick at one time in fantasy football. So I think that it could be like a way to psychologically get your children to behave, so to speak, for these two front offices. Still, though, you know, he's a good player. He probably will get a job somewhere.
One other name we'll throw out here as we wrap up the segment is Cedric Benson. He is a free agent, but in all likelihood, he's probably going to land back in Cincinnati. He kind of revived his career there a little bit, Jeff. He ran hard down the stretch, although you did mention that AFC North, that's some tough sledding there with some great run Ds.
Yeah, Cedric Benson's not going to be great for you. You know, if you get him, he might be a serviceable number 3 type of a running back that you could platoon with somebody else. We're talking down the road months now, but at the same time, he should take this job if they give it to him. I can't see how the Bengals would want to spend much money or an early draft pick in a running back. They have too many holes on their defense and on their offensive line, and we're about to see a mass offensive exodus on that team as we see offensive linemen with good talent have their contracts expire and just nobody just wants to be there at all. It's not run very well. Mike Brown Jr., I believe, is their general manager, and he is, as I'll quote my good buddy Jesse, piss poor.
That's right. Well, we're excited to be with you. This has been TFS's free agency preview. Keep coming back to the site often. There's more new content on the way, and as always, tell your friends about our site and what we've got going on here at testosteronesports.com.